Some of you might say that you have never heard anybody that does not support women who decide to stay home. But if you were around some of the social circles that I used to be around, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy that you are here, and happy Monday. This is the only video that's going to go up this week, but next week I will be back to my 2 videos every single week. I apologize for the setting, and if you hear my dogs barking, they are roughhousing in a room next to me, and I don't really have a choice but to film in this room simply because we are doing some renovations. And if you follow me on Instagram, you will know that yeah, this is what we're doing, and you will also have more insight on that. So if you don't follow me yet on Instagram, please find my handle down below, and I would love to be your friend there. If you happen to stumble upon my channel, please hit that red subscribe button, because this is really a community of women who support each other in developing our femininity, living a classy and elegant life, and building some homemaking skills. Once in a while, I do have a coffee and chat video, which is my series where I dissect some more controversial topics and I give you my opinion on the role of women today. As some of you know, I live a more traditional lifestyle, and I'm proud to call myself a homemaker. So that means that most of the time, like 90% of the time, I am focused on homemaking and I'm focused on my family, which right now is my husband, my 3 dogs, and hopefully some children in the near future. For those of you who have talked to me on a one-on-one basis, you know that the path that I was on before was kind of contrary to the way that I'm living today. And it wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but it didn't really fulfill me. I came to some harsh realizations, and I thank so much my parents as well as some teachers who have instilled the skill of critical thinking, so that every time that I came across a type of belief about the life in which I was living, I was able to question it just because I had the skill of critical thinking. Today I'm going to share with you some lies or some myths that I used to believe about women, and I wanted to provide you with a disclaimer that if you live a life different from the way that I live my life, and if you disagree with some of the things that I'm saying, please don't take this video as an attack. If you find satisfaction in the way in which you are leading your life, please keep doing that, and understand that my channel is a place of peace and it isn't a place of criticizing another woman. Everything that I'm also going to say could really have a video or entire series on each point. But so don't come on here and strawman my argument or pinpoint certain things that I'm about to say, because I do not have the time to sit down and debate with every single person who comes on my channel and wants to leave a negative remark. This is only to start a conversation and to help other women who have come to this realization or who agree with me feel some sort of peace by understanding that they are not alone. So without further ado, because I do not have all day and I have some things to do today, we are going to start with number 1, which has to do with femininity. I have already talked about this point in passing in certain videos. I think I talked about it in my ways that I became more feminine, but it has to deal with the topic of believing that femininity is weak. I used to believe that femininity was weak. I used to think that females, women embodying masculine characteristics was the pinnacle of success, and that if you had more feminine tendencies, you had to let go of these in order to embody more masculine characteristics in order to really measure up to anything in your life. Now, I've also mentioned that femininity and masculinity are kind of on a spectrum, kind of on a continuum. So you might have more masculine characteristics and certain feminine characteristics, but for me, I had a lot of naturally feminine characteristics. And I really got exhausted and I really got burnt out trying to suppress these and embody masculine characteristics that were not natural to me. If you want to see a more in-depth video where I talk about these things, please remember to hit that like button, because like I mentioned, I could talk about this forever. And one last thing I'm going to say is that I really realized that characteristics of femininity help bring humanity to the world when femininity is used appropriately. When femininity is used to bring other people together, to show compassion and caring, this is really when femininity strives and it can actually be a leader in the world in its own way. feminine leadership looks more like inspiration. It is different from masculine leadership in terms of action-oriented, but it's more of a way of living your life that helps inspire other people to be better people. The second point that I want to talk to you about has to do with homemakers. What did I write down here? Homemakers, housewives, stay-at-home moms are stupid, unambitious, and can't handle stress. This isn't a history lesson, but we do know that the second wave of feminism was very much inspired by the feminine mystique. And the feminine mystique had a lot of supporters behind it because you had a lot of angry housewives who desired to be out there in the workplace. And that is totally fine. If you are a woman who wants to go out and work a very high-powered career, if that is something that fulfills you, then I am cheering you on. However, I do think that the undertones of a lot of what women were saying in the past was that a woman could not achieve her full potential if she wasn't absolutely out of the home pursuing a career. We are long past that time, but the problem lies with the fact that there is still a negative mentality behind the fact that many people believe that women are not 100% contributing to society if they are not out there working a job. Some of you might say that you have never heard anybody that does not support women who decide to stay home, but if you were around some of the social circles that I used to be around, some of the kind of highly academic social circles that I was around, you would know that there are many people, men and women, who believe that women who stay at home are actually unintelligent. And I really think that this is a detrimental mentality to have, a detrimental undertone to be pushing in society, because if you have women who do find complete satisfaction being at home and they really do feel as though it is all they have dreamed of, labeling these women as unintelligent is actually very negative. It's actually not supporting women at all. There are also many women who decide to sequence their life and that they have large families or they have a spouse that they want to support. And this doesn't mean that they are unintelligent and that they can't handle stress. Homemaking, I really believe, is what you make it. You can be a very intelligent woman that is a full-time homemaker, and you can have excellent homemaking skills, and you can pour your attention and your ambition and your intelligence into your home as well as your community. Again, I can completely ramble on and on about this topic, and you know that Coffee and Chat, although I do have a few things listed down, is not a comprehensive video where I have specific things that I'm going to say. Now, the third thing that I used to believe is that women can have it all. Now, I do believe that women can have completely fulfilling lives as long as they are doing what they believe is right for their life. However, there is this push in society that you have to be the perfect mom who resembles a full-time homemaker but be the CEO of a company and have this extraordinary, amazing marriage, and as well volunteer and look like $1 million and be completely healthy. While I do think that this is possible for certain people who have high energy drives, this type of glorification of the perfect woman all around is unattainable for so many women. Many women tend to suffer in silence, trying to think, why can't I have it all? Because they're trying to push this perfect, I guess, image that they are having it all, and they're not having the conversations with other women that they are actually struggling and that they do not have everything together. I think that when we look at Instagram, for example, of the CEO, for example, a beauty company that has this perfect life, this perfect home, is the perfect mom while maintaining this $1 million company. Nobody tells the everyday woman that, for example, this person had a father who laid the foundation for this business, or this person has a live-in maid. So for many of us out there, we tend to feel down on ourselves because we see this perfect image projected that is actually unattainable, and so many people have laid the foundation to that success. One of my biggest pet peeves, side note, that I wasn't going to include in this video, but it had me thinking, is that I cannot stand when people do not acknowledge the people that help them build the success and help them build the foundation for where they are today. But unfortunately, this is very common in today's society. So many people do not thank other people and do not acknowledge other people and do not acknowledge the fact that they did not attain the success on their own. And I think that this is really wrong. One, because we should thank the people in our lives, and it really helps us be better people, and it's just something that you should do. But two, it continues to propel this image of the perfect woman that is impossible to achieve. Number four, which is near and dear to my heart, is that you need to work in a male-dominated field in order to be successful. Now, I made a video when I first started making videos about feminine careers, and a few people took it the wrong way, because I wasn't saying that if you work in a stereotypical masculine male-dominated field that you cannot be a feminine woman. What I was basically appealing to was the women who feel alone in their traditionally, stereotypically feminine and female-dominated careers that they do not get any praise for anymore. The facts is that if you go into a field that is dominated by women, you're not going to get the same recognition as somebody who goes into a male-dominated field. And I can actually speak to this because I have worked in both sectors, so I have an authentic experience for this. And many people will argue that that is because we need to encourage the women who might feel out of place in male-dominated fields, but I think that there is so many better ways to go about this practice than to bring down women who are not in stereotypically male-dominated fields. I think we should be uplifting both women, and I think that focusing on one group of women is not positive for the other group. I think instead we should be focusing on the work that these women are doing and not the fact that they are working in fields that are dominated by men. And know that if you are watching this, because I know I have many women that actually watch my videos that work in male-dominated fields, know that I am proud of you, but also know that the women who are working in female-dominated fields, that I am also equally proud of you. As long as you are doing good work and you are helping people, that is what I think is most important. Number five, which I'm briefly going to talk about, is that serving your husband is slavery. That is something that we used to think that doing things for your husband, cooking meals, taking care of the household duties is a form of oppression and slavery. And I think that there's a missing part to that conversation, because there are so many ways that your husband can serve you that are equally beneficial. It is a mutual relationship, and dividing up tasks certain ways is not a negative thing. I think it's a very efficient practice. Number six is that homemaking is not a real job. So I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. Homemaking is what you make it. If you are going to be a full-time homemaker, then treat it like a job. Get up at the same hour. Have a schedule, have a to-do list. Take your job seriously and take pride in your role. When you begin doing that, you will most definitely feel as though it is a real job. I also liked what Ina said in a most recent video. I think it was her live chat, where she talked about how women nowadays who work outside the home as well as take pride in their home, they might be dividing the tasks. I know a lot of women who work outside the home who do hire a maid service, or they do have their entire family pitch in terms of the household duties. So it is more of a division of time rather than the fact that the homemaker is doing less than the working woman. It is an outsourcing and a division of time issue. It has nothing to do with certain women doing more than other women. And the last thing is that you can only be friends with people who have the same beliefs as you. This was inspired by my friend Brielle. Hello Brielle, she's been waiting for me to shout her out. So my friend Brielle, for example, has a different set of beliefs than I do, but I do not think that being friends with somebody who has a different set of beliefs than you is necessarily detrimental. I think it's actually a positive thing, because you can learn to have conversations and find common ground. And I think, again, going back to collaboration, that is an important part of the human experience. I've also talked about how if you are living a more traditional life, you do want to seek community in people who are living a similar lifestyle. And that is because you do not want to feel completely alone and like a freak for living the way that you do. But at the same time, do not enclose yourself in a bubble and not be friends with other people who might disagree with you. Agree to disagree. And of course there will be people who disagree with you, who perhaps even the trolls that come on this channel, take a aggressive point. I think you should not be friends with anybody, even if they believe in your same beliefs, that are aggressively and harshly and just being a bully towards somebody else. That is a person issue and not a belief issue. You want to be friends with people who respect your beliefs and respect who you are and are open-minded to hearing your perspective without them coming back and harshly attacking you and your character. I would love to make a video on friends and making friends now and basically about cultivating friendships. If you are interested in that, please like this video. This video is long enough, and again, if you disagree with some of the things that I'm saying, that is completely okay. I just want to give you a video where you could get to know me a little bit better and get to know the foundation and the misconceptions that I used to believe that I do not believe anymore and have made me into the woman that I am today. I would love to hear some of the things that you used to believe, some of the myths, some of the lies that you used to believe about women and I guess about society. Anything that comes to your mind, I love to hear it. I love to interact with you. And if you leave a negative comment, unfortunately, I'm going to take it down just because I do not want anybody on my channel to feel like they are insecure, like they cannot feel comfortable, because there really aren't that many spaces on the internet for women who live more traditionally to find other women and to feel at peace. So I love you all. I wish you have the best and most life-giving and blessed week ever. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.